very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you the day's biggest news stories from the nation as well as the international news. Let's start with the headlines. Government's all-party meet ahead of a budget session, attempt to seek opposition support in Parliament. Lok Sabha Speaker also calls meeting of leaders of all parties of House. Election Commission writes to RBI again, seeks reconsidering its request to increase weekly withdrawal limits for candidates in poll states, says RBI not understanding the gravity of the situation. Samajwadi Party patron Mulayam Singh Yadav says he's against the SP Congress alliance in Uttar Pradesh and won't campaign for them. Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav address their first joint press conference and rally in Lucknow. US administration firm over ban on immigration from 7 countries despite court rulings and mass protests. President Trump denies it is a Muslim ban, says the visas will be issued once the more secure policies are in place. And Roger Federer wins his 5th Australian Open title, beating Rafael Nadal in a 5-set thriller, becomes only man in history with 5 or more titles at 3 different Grand Slams. First up, news from the assembly-bound states. The centre has convened an all-party meeting today ahead of the budget session of Parliament that begins tomorrow. Well, the centre is seeking the opposition support for the smooth conduct of non-proceedings of both the houses. Now, the budget session will start from Tuesday with President Pranab Mukherjee's address to a joint sitting of the Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. The economic survey will also be presented on the first day of the session. The general budget will be presented on Wednesday. The two houses will have a month-long recess from 10th of February to 8th of March, in which the standing committees will consider the demands for grants of ministries and departments and prepare their reports. Now, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan has also called a meeting of leaders of political parties in the House later in the evening today. Those were the news related to, in fact, budget. And now we have news related to the assembly-bound states. Well, the Election Commission has once again asked the RBI to comply with its directive to increase the cash withdrawal limit for candidates in 5 poll-bound states. Well, the poll panel wrote to the RBI again after it rejected the Commission's earlier request to increase the weekly cash withdrawal limit from 24,000 rupees to 2 lakh rupees to enable the candidates to meet the poll expenses. Now, turning down poll panel's request, the central bank had said it is not possible for it to hike the limit at this stage. But in a letter to RBI Governor Urjit Patel, the Commission expressed a serious concern about the cursory manner the issue was dealt with. Now, it has said that the RBI has not realized the gravity of the situation, reiterating that it is the constitutional mandate of the Commission to conduct free and fair elections and to provide a level playing field to all the candidates. The poll body urged the RBI to reconsider the proposal. And filing of nominations for the 4th phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will begin from today. Well, the last date for filing of the nominations is 6th of February and 9th of February is the last date for the withdrawal of the same. Now, a total of 12 districts, including Rai Bareilly constituency, will be covered in the 4th phase of the crucial state assembly election, which will take place on 25th of February. And Mulayam Singh Yadav has expressed displeasure over the SP Congress alliance hours after the joint rally by Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav. Well, Yadav said that he's completely against the alliance as his party is capable of winning the UP election single-handedly. Now, before being deposed as the party president, Mulayam Singh had rejected the possibility of alliance for the assembly polls.
समाजवादी पार्टी और कांग्रेस के चुनावी समझौते के मैं खिलाफ हूँ। और मैं इस समझौते के पक्ष में प्रचार नहीं करूंगा। समाजवादी पार्टी सक्षम है अकेले चुनाव लड़ने के लिए। वो अकेले लड़े तो आया बहुमत, और जब बहुमत आया सरकार बनी तो इसकी आवश्यकता ही नहीं थी।
And Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav have addressed a joint press conference on Sunday in Lucknow. Well, the two leaders hit out at the BJP's brand of politics. Well, they tried to drive home the point that they are friends and not just political allies, and that the two parties share much of each other's ideologies as well as goals.
Solidarity was for all to see between the two young leaders of the Congress and the Samajwadi Party. They launched the poll campaign with a tagline, UP ko ye saath pasand hai. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav gave a call for defeating the alleged divisive politics of anger of the BJP. They sought vote for the progress and peace for the people of Uttar Pradesh in the upcoming assembly elections. In a veiled attack on the BJP over demonetization, the leaders stressed that the alliance is an answer to those who made the nation stand in queues.
आज हम क्रोध की राजनीति, गुस्से की राजनीति, बांटने की राजनीति और कंपनी को हिंदुस्तान के धन देने की राजनीति का जवाब दे रहे हैं। एक प्रकार से गंगा और यमुना का यहां पे मिलन हो रहा है। प्रगति की सरस्वती, प्रोग्रेस की सरस्वती इस मिलन में से निकलेगी।
जो राजनीति दूर रखने की है, कम से कम कांग्रेस पार्टी और समाजवादी पार्टी मिलकर के लोगों के बीच में भरोसा पैदा कर करके उनको साथ लेके चलने का काम होगा। साइकिल के साथ हाथ हो और हाथ के पास साइकिल हो तो सोचो रफ्तार कितनी होगी। और ये दो पहिए हैं, उम्र में भी ज्यादा फासला नहीं है। अगर साइकिल के दो पहिए हैं तो हम और राहुल जी यहां बैठे हुए दो पहिए हैं, बन करके तेजी से आगे बढ़ाएंगे चीजों को।
The leaders dispelled contentious issues like who will contest how many seats in Amethi and Raebareli, terming them as peripheral issues. Downplaying the irritants and the near fallout of the alliance, Rahul Gandhi asserted that it was an alliance of hearts and not a case of political opportunism.
ये फंडामेंटल इशू नहीं है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी अमेठी रायबरेली में कितनी सीट्स लड़ेगी। ये पेरिफेरल इशू है। सेंट्रल इशू है कि इस अलायंस के माध्यम से उत्तर प्रदेश को हम बदलने जा रहे हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश के युवा को हम अपॉर्चुनिटी देने जा रहे हैं और बीजेपी का जो गुस्से की जो राजनीति है, झूठ की जो राजनीति है, डिमोनेटाइजेशन की जो राजनीति है, उसको हम यहां खत्म करने के लिए लड़ रहे हैं।
The duo later held a 12-kilometer roadshow in the state capital, boosting the morale of their supporters and signalling unity. The two leaders atop the UP Vijay Rath started the roadshow from the GPO Park in Hazratganj after garlanding the statue of Mahatma Gandhi. They ended the roadshow with a public meeting at the Ghantaghar in the Chowk area of Lucknow. The coming together of the two leaders on a public platform is significant since the two parties reached a seat-sharing agreement for the polls that start from February the 11th. Out of the 403 assembly seats, Congress will be contesting in 105 and the SP in the rest of 298 seats.
27 साल यूपी में हाल काम बोलता है तो यूपी को ये साथ पसंद है. Both the Congress and the Samajwadi Party have travelled a long way. While these parties assert that it is not a case of political opportunism, the opposition calls it a marriage of convenience. Can this alliance traverse the caste-laden labyrinth of Uttar Pradesh's electoral politics? Come March 11th and we shall get to know. Reporting from Lucknow with camera person Shiv Kumar, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, my colleague Kriti Mishra is now joining us on the phone line. Kriti, now both Rahul Gandhi as well as Akhilesh Yadav are trying to show a very interesting chemistry between them, newfound bond, harmony really between the Congress and the Samajwadi Party. But it seems Mulayam Singh Yadav has really something else in his mind. He said that he will not campaign for the alliance. What do we make out of it?
Well, as Samajwadi Party Tej Riyad had open differences with the Congress earlier on several issues. His worry may also stem from the fact that Gayatri Prajapati's seat could be sacrificed if the SP and the Congress reach at some kind of compromise formula for the Amethi and Raebareli seats. Remember, Prajapati had enjoyed the patronage of the SP patriarch, and people are also not observant about Chief Minister's dislike for Gayatri Prajapati. Now, since he said that he won't campaign, what would be the prospects of this alliance? Because Mulayam Singh Yadav has very aggressively pursued the politics of M+Y, and also in certain SP pocket boroughs, Mulayam enjoys a very high degree of confidence. So it also remains to be seen if the Chief Minister also makes some endeavors to get his father on board again. Aishwarya?
Right, and now what is really what is going to be the fate of this alliance, and how is it going to affect how Mulayam Singh Yadav will not really, if he doesn't campaign for the party, how will it affect the alliance? That is something that we have to wait and see. Thank you so much, Kriti, for all those updates from there. Meanwhile, another Samajwadi Party legislator, Narad Rai, joined the BSP on Sunday. Now, Rai has been given the ticket from Balia Sadar seat. Now, Narad Rai was considered close to SP leader Shivpal Yadav and was sacked by Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav from his ministry. Earlier, senior SP leader Ambika Chaudhary had joined BSP and was given a party ticket from Fefna constituency in Balia.
उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री माननीय अखिलेश यादव जी ने हमको कितना अपमानित किया है, आपसे छुपी हुई बात नहीं है, लेकिन सारा अपमान हमने इसलिए बर्दाश्त किया कि हम सिद्धांतों वसूलों पर काम करने के लिए राजनीति शुरू करी थी, और जिसका माननीय नेताजी ने संरक्षण देने का काम किया। जब नेताजी का ही अपमान होने लगा तो हमने फैसला कर लिया कि अब आगे का रास्ता श्री अखिलेश यादव जी के साथ राजनीति में करना बहुत मुश्किल है।
News from poll-bound Punjab now, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a public rally in Faridkot in the run-up to the assembly elections in the state. Well, he hit out at the other two contenders in the election fray, the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. He accused the Congress of defaming the Sikh community during the period of militancy in the 1980s and launched an offensive against the Aam Aadmi Party, calling the party an outsider.
हर पंजाबी को, हर पछड़दार को, हर पंजाब के नौजवान को आतंकवादी पेंट करने का पाप कांग्रेस पार्टी ने करके देश में हमारे दूध में दरार करने का प्रयास इन कांग्रेस वालों ने किया था। भाई, बाहरी लोगों की आ जाए, सरकार ऐशो आराम करने वालों की आ जाए तो सिर्फ पंजाब के लोगों का नुकसान होगा ऐसा नहीं, पूरे हिंदुस्तान को एक संकट का दौर से गुजरना पड़ेगा।
News from Goa now, and looking for retaining power in the state. Well, the BJP released its election manifesto on Sunday. Well, the party focused on job creation and promised to make the state unemployment free in the next 5 years. Well, the manifesto also accused ease of, assured ease of doing business and encourage investments in tourism and industry sectors. Well, the party has also promised to provide loan facilities to all agro-based activities at nominal 1% interest rate linked to the Krishi card. However, the manifesto skirted issues such as the casinos and the mining industry.
फुडली 5 वर्सां आमी एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशनाक ओपल्यात, जास्तीत जास्त एम्प्लॉयमेंट करप आणि राज्य रोजगार युक्त आणि बेरोजगारी मुक्त अशें राज्य करपाचो संकल्प आमी घेतला.
Well, staying with Goa, the Election Commission on Sunday directed the Chief Electoral Officer of Goa to lodge an FIR against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal for his remarks about bribes made at a poll-bound rally in the state. Now, addressing a rally in Goa, the AAP leader had allegedly asked voters to accept money from the BJP and the Congress but vote for the Aam Aadmi Party. Well, the poll body called the AAP leader's claim that the commission is encouraging bribery by restraining him from uttering such statements as baseless. Well, the FIR will be filed against under the provisions of the Representation of the People's Act, which deals with bribing voters, and also under relevant sections of the Indian Penal Code. The poll body also noted that despite being censured on 20th of January, Kejriwal was continuing to instigate voters to take money from other political parties, even after assuring the Election Commission in 2015 of not repeating such remarks. On to some other news now. Well, the nation is paying homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 69th death anniversary today. Well, Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on this day in 1948. Now, President Pranab Mukherjee, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will pay tributes to Bapu at Rajghat in New Delhi. Now, an inter-religious prayer meet will also be organized on the occasion. Later, the Urban Development Minister Venkaiah Naidu will also inaugurate improvement works at Gandhiji's Samadhi at Rajghat.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal also paid homage to the Mahatma.
And in Breakfast Bulletin, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news.
The Finance Minister will present a make-or-break budget for Modi government. Arun Jaitley faces a tough task amid frenzy on note ban and GST. Will he manage a please-all effort? Spend budget day with India's best minds. Budget 2017 with Rajya Sabha Television, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. on February 1st.
Welcome back. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the country in his monthly Mann Ki Baat radio address on Sunday. Well, during his address, Prime Minister Modi paid a tribute to the soldiers who had died in avalanches in Kashmir last week. In his 40-minute address, he also gave a note of encouragement to over 25 lakh students appearing for their board exams next month. He gave the slogan of "Smile more and score more," saying that a happy student scores more marks.
एक तरफ हम सब 26 जनवरी की उमंग और उत्साह की खबरों से आनंदित थे, तो उसी समय कश्मीर में हमारे जो सेना के जवान देश की रक्षा में डटे हुए हैं, वे हिमस्खलन के कारण वीर गति को प्राप्त हुए। मैं इन सभी वीर जवानों को आदरपूर्वक श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं, नमन करता हूं। एक खुशी का अवसर होना चाहिए। साल भर मेहनत की है, अब बताने का अवसर आया है। ऐसा उमंग उत्साह का ये पर्व होना चाहिए। बहुत कम लोग हैं जिनके लिए एग्जाम एक प्लेजर होती है, ज्यादातर लोगों के लिए एग्जाम एक प्रेशर होती है। निर्णय आपको करना है कि इसे आप प्लेजर मानेंगे कि प्रेशर मानेंगे।
News from Jammu and Kashmir now. Well, a high danger avalanche warning has been issued for the next 24 hours in Kashmir division. Now, people have been asked to take precautionary measures to avert any untoward incident. Well, the administration has issued a high danger avalanche warning in Kupwara, Bandipora, Baramulla, Ganderbal, Kulgam, Budgam and Kargil districts. All the deputy commissioners in the division, including Leh and Kargil, have been advised they have advised people not to venture in these avalanche-prone areas and to keep clearing snow depositions from roofs of their houses and bunkers to avoid damages. Now, Army Chief General Bipin Rawat laid a wreath at the coffin of an officer killed in the avalanche. General Rawat said that the efforts to repatriate the mortal remains of other soldiers were also being, however, hampered by inclement weather in the valley.
इस वक्त मौसम के कारण हमारे कुछ जवान जो शहीद हुए हैं वो इस वक्त भी कश्मीर वैली में ही हैं। हम उन्हें बाहर नहीं ला पाए हैं। हमारी कोशिश पूरी जारी है कि उनको जल्दी से जल्दी उनके घर पहुंचाया जा सके। मैं उनके परिवार वालों को ये सहमति दिलाना चाहूंगा कि हम उनके साथ हैं।
Now our top international focus. Well, the Trump administration is standing firm over its ban on immigration from 7 countries despite court rulings and mass protests against it. Well, in a statement, President Trump said that visas would be again issued once the more secure policies were in place, insisting that it was not a Muslim ban. Trump said that it was not about religion, but about terror and keeping the U.S. safe. Well, the statement is the latest attempt by Trump's White House to explain the controversial order which the president signed at the Pentagon on Friday. Well, the move halted the entire U.S. refugee program for 120 days, indefinitely banned the Syrian refugees, and also suspended all nationals from 7 Muslim-majority countries for next 3 months. Well, those who were already mid-flight were detained on arrival, even if they held valid U.S. visas or other immigration permits. Well, the move has been widely condemned. Tens of thousands of people gathered in U.S. cities to protest Trump's new immigration policies. Now, 16 state attorney generals have also said that the order is unconstitutional.
I think banning refugees, banning immigrants, banning religions like Islam or any other religion, or giving preference to any religion over another is un-American. It's about the most un-American thing that could happen.
This executive order was mean-spirited and un-American. It was implemented in a way that created chaos and confusion across the country, and it will only serve to embolden and inspire those around the globe who will do us harm. It must be reversed immediately. Senate Democrats are going to introduce legislation to overturn this and move it as quickly as we can.
News from Yemen now. Well, a U.S. Special Operations soldier died during a weekend raid against Al-Qaeda militants in Yemen. Well, 3 other American troops, members of a Navy SEAL unit, were wounded in the operation on Saturday against Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Well, a U.S. aircraft crash-landed and was destroyed in the raid on an Al-Qaeda base near Baida, which is a town in the territory north of the port of Aden. Well, the U.S. said that 14 Al-Qaeda fighters were killed in the firefight with no civilian loss of life. The militant organization has remained a potent threat amid an extended civil war in Yemen. The incident, however, marks the first time a member of a U.S. military has died in combat since President Trump took office a little more than a week ago. Trump hailed the raid but said that Americans were saddened at the news of the death of a heroic service member. He has pledged to wage a more aggressive campaign against terrorist groups. On to some sports news, and Swiss Roger Federer beat Spanish Rafael Nadal to win his 5th Australian Open and his 18th career Grand Slam title. Well, this was Federer's first big Grand Slam win since his 2012 Wimbledon title.
You know, I'm happy for you. I would have been happy to lose too, to be honest. The comeback was perfect as it was. So tennis is a tough sport. There's no draws, but if there was going to be one, I would have been very happy to accept the draw tonight and share it with Rafa, really.
Roger Federer outshining Rafael Nadal to claim his 5th Australian Open title and his 18th overall Grand Slam title. The achievement is all the more special as it ends his unsuccessful title hunt for 5 years. His previous major title came at Wimbledon in 2012. With this 5-set thrilling win, Federer becomes the first man in history to win 5 or more titles at 3 different Grand Slam events: 5 Australian Opens, 5 US Opens and 7 Wimbledons. The 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3 victory came for Federer in 3 hours and 38 minutes. It was capped by 20 aces. Federer made the slower start to the contest, with Nadal drawing him into lengthy rallies and targeting his backhand. It was a Swiss who made the first breakthrough, converting the first break point of the match with a forehand winner to go 5-4 up. That was enough to take the opening set. But Nadal was all over his opponent's serve at the start of the second. Federer had 2 break points in the next game, but Nadal fought them off and then broke again, and his rival struggled for accuracy under the Spanish onslaught. Federer stepped up a gear with some brilliant shot making, allowing him to rattle off the next two games, and Nadal left scrambling to fend off a second break in a marathon fourth game. Nadal broke for 3-1 in the fourth when Federer netted a backhand volley and held under unrelenting pressure in the next game. Nadal again closed out the set and Federer took a medical timeout before the start of the decider. Federer needed another 5 break points on Nadal's next service game and he finally sealed the deal. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Team India registered a scintillating 5-run win over England in the second T20 cricket match played on Sunday in Nagpur to level the 3-match series. By chasing a victory target of 145 runs, the visitors could manage to put up 139 runs for the loss of 6 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Well, Jasprit Bumrah's superb bowling performance in the death overs helped the hosts contain the visitors' innings. Now, Ben Stokes and Joe Root scored 38 runs each to prop up the innings. Ashish Nehra took 3 wickets while Jasprit Bumrah claimed 2 and Amit Mishra claimed the remaining wickets for the hosts. Bumrah was adjudged the man of the match.
जसप्रीत बुमराह जैसे मैंने बोला कि डेथ में स्पेशली कि हर बॉलर की एक स्ट्रेंथ होती है. जसप्रीत बुमराह की स्ट्रेंथ है कि वो स्पेशली जो ओल्ड बॉल से उनका जो एक्शन है, चाहे वो स्लो बॉल है और यॉर्कर है, वो डालते हैं और वो डे बाय डे सीख रहे हैं और यहाँ से वो बेहतर ही होंगे जो उनकी एज अभी है.
It shifted momentum in the 20th over, first ball to 20th over, losing a batsman who has faced 40 balls on a wicket that's not that easy to time on. Is quite a bit of a hammer blow, and it's proved very costly. All things considered, a couple of decisions didn't go our way.
Well, and finally, an electric mix of performances was seen on Sunday evening at the beating retreat ceremony that marks the finale of this year's Republic Day celebrations. Well, the ceremony this year marked President Pranab Mukherjee's last beating retreat ceremony as the highest constitutional authority. Well, the ceremonial event saw 16 military bands, 16 pipes and drums bands from regimental centres as well as battalions. So we leave you with these images. Thanks for watching.